Nearly 40 years after my first journey through Pakistan, I return, this time not as a backpacker, but on a motorcycle. The journey begins in Japan. From Fukuoka, I fly west with a stopover in Bangkok before continuing on to Islamabad. Arriving in Pakistan, everything feels both familiar and new. This is a country I first experienced in 1986. Now I am back to see how it has changed. In Islamabad, I pick up my motorcycle. This will be my companion for the next 38 days. I also meet a friend for the first time in person, someone I had only known through social media. There was a checkpoint, and this is where things became very real. Before going any further, I had to stop, register with the police. It wasn't optional, it was part of traveling through this region. This was my first police escort in Pakistan. A vehicle pulled ahead, and just like that, I was no longer riding entirely on my own. We moved together along the road into the valley. It's an unusual feeling. On one hand, you're being looked after. On the other, it's a reminder of what this place has been through. I got my bike washed and talked to a rich Pathan who was visiting from the UK. I asked him about his mother tongue.
What is your name?
Fardul Khan.
How do you say in Pashto, what is your name?
Tanum Sada.
And how do I say, my name is Tim?
Zamanum Tembe.
How are you?
Singaye.
Singaye.
Yes.
And how do I say, I'm fine?
Zakhayam Merabani.
Are there many dialects of Pashto? Like Afghani Pashto is different?
It's not much different, but yes, of course, there is a little bit of difference.
You can understand Afghani?
Yeah, we also understand, neighborhood Pashto, yes.
While I was taking care of a few things in town, I also stopped to get my helmet fixed. All the while, the police escort waited nearby.
Very good technique.
They didn't rush me. They just stayed there, quietly, making sure everything was in order. Once I was finished, they followed me to the hotel. The escort had done its job. They left, and just like that, I was on my own again in Mingora. Later that evening, I headed out on foot and got something to eat. The next morning, I leave Mingora and continue north into the upper Swat Valley. From the very beginning, the road stays close to the river. The Swat River becomes a constant companion, flowing beside me as I ride deeper into the mountains. In many places, the valley narrows into a gorge. Steep rock walls rise on both sides, and the road threads its way through the limited space between the mountains and the water. There is a sense of being contained within the landscape. The river, the road, and the mountains, all moving together. The condition of the road changes constantly. Some sections are smooth and well paved, allowing for a steady ride, then suddenly it shifts to gravel. Loose stones, uneven surfaces, and patches of erosion require more focus and slower movement. This is typical of mountain roads like this. They are shaped as much by the terrain and weather as by construction. At times, the road is cut directly into the rock face. At others, it runs just above the river, with little separation between the two. The sound of the water is always there, loud, fast, and continuous. Fed by snow and glaciers from higher elevations, the Swat River moves with force through the valley. As I continue, the scenery gradually changes. The lower sections give way to more rugged terrain. The slopes become steeper, and patches of forest begin to appear, especially pine trees at higher elevations. The air becomes cooler as I gain altitude, and the sense of moving into a more remote region becomes stronger. Along the way, I pass small settlements, clusters of houses built close to the road or tucked into the sides of the valley. Life here is closely tied to the river and the narrow strips of land available for cultivation. Everything feels adapted to the constraints of the terrain. This road toward Kalam has always been important. It connects the lower Swat region with the more isolated upper valleys, and despite its challenges, it remains a vital route for both local people and travelers. There is relatively little traffic. This road is the main route into Upper Swat, but its capacity is limited by the terrain. In many sections it remains narrow and vulnerable to landslides, especially during the monsoon season or after heavy snowfall. Maintenance is ongoing, but conditions can change quickly depending on weather and erosion. For local communities, however, this road is essential. It is the primary connection between remote villages and larger towns like Mingora. Food supplies, construction materials, fuel, and everyday goods all move along this route. At the same time, it serves as the main access for tourism. Places like Kalam, Ushu Forest, and Mahodan Lake depend on this road for visitors during the summer months. During peak season, traffic can increase significantly, with jeeps and vans carrying tourists deeper into the valley. But outside those periods, the road returns to its quieter rhythm, shaped more by the needs of local life than by outside movement.
यत्रैव यत्रैव मनोमदीयं तत्रैव तत्रैव तव स्वरूपं यत्रैव यत्रैव मनोमदीयं तत्रैव तत्रैव तव स्वरूपं यत्रैव यत्रैव